What's happening, guys? My name is OTG and welcome back to Davilo's Journey. We are here for episode number 10 at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. It's a big one, it's time. It's going to be interesting. You see, in practice, we've got a 1 minute 18.4, only 3 tenths up on Lewis Hamilton. That's pretty impressive, though. You can see in Q3 we're coming through, and we're a little bit off the pace. It's going to be one of them races where we just need to keep it steady and just get the good qualifying. So we can definitely do it, but obviously the AI have better traction control in the wet weather conditions, so it's going to be a little bit dodgy. As you can see, the rear end flying out on us there. We need to get the pace going as quickly as possible. We don't want to have a really poor start. And yeah, a decent qualifying, only 5 tenths off in Q1, and then Nico Rosberg goes ahead and smashes Lewis Hamilton's time, making us 1.5 seconds off his pace anyway. So yeah, get through in 5th, a really weird qualifying session, with the AI obviously having the added traction boost, with having traction control on, means they're going to have one of the better races compared to us. So we need it to be dry come to Q3. If we can survive through Q2, and it's wet, then we'll be so happy. You can see now we're purple in the middle sector there. Hamilton comes ahead and sets the fastest lap of 1:22, so we're up on him. Sorry, not up on him, we're up on Hockenheim, who was the pole sitter, as 11 cars have crossed the line. It's about to become 12 as we come across now. We're about to come up to the line. What sort of time? It should be an improvement. It's a 1:23.3, 1.2 seconds off of Lewis Hamilton, just behind our teammate, and that's enough to get us through in 8th. And you can see how close it was. 1.1 seconds for Button and 1.3 seconds for Vettel, with Kvyat, Raikkonen and Bottas going out, who are the big guys, as Kvyat's outqualified Kimi Raikkonen. What a poor showing from him. And at the end of this episode, guys, we have actually got an offer from a team, so you guys have a really important decision to make there, and it might regard our storyline, of course. Remember, the storylines, if you're an old watcher, then I'll reimagine your mind so you can understand it a little bit more. Now you can see in Q3 we're coming through on a great lap now. We're up, we're purple. The last sector's a little bit dodgy for us. The AI get a boost around here. We take a nice line there, get on the power, get on the curve though, sadly. That's going to maybe hinder us, but it's not too much there. Not getting the much power out the corner now. We're coming through across the line now. It's very close. It's 300ths off of 120, 116. 956. Oh, that's so close. And then across the line goes Alonso and Vettel when they smash our time, but we keep it very close. Alonso completely destroying it, but Vettel very close there. But Alonso 3 tenths up, he's on pole. We're in 5th, so not a bad lap time really. We're keeping the pace there. Magnussen's car looking very nice with that little yellow shot above it, of course. That little yellow, I don't know what that's called. It doesn't really matter, really, does it? But yeah, there's a setup. Not the best setup in the world. It's not bad, but I would recommend you use it if you're going to use the McLaren. It's pretty good. It's got me a good qualifying session going. But as we get off the jacks and get prepared to the track, it is time for the German Grand Prix. So on the grid now, here we go. We are down in 5th. We've got the 2 Mercedes ahead of us. It's going to be one of them races where we need a great start, and with a chance of rain, it's really all about tyre strategy. We've got 5 lights and we're away now. We're getting off to an okay start, but Lewis Hamilton with a great start there compared to Rosberg. We get a better start than Rosberg as well. So the Mercedes-powered engine is actually doing better than the Mercedes Works team. The McLaren Mercedes are having a bit of contact with Nico Rosberg, and we let him through there. And Lewis Hamilton loses out now. A little bit of argy-bargy with the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo now up the inside of Rosberg and Vettel. He hits us a little bit. We get caught on the curb now, but we get the better acceleration out that corner, and we're up into P2. Fernando Alonso now pulling away from us. Lap 6, you can see on the mini-map he's pulled away, but we're keeping a decent gap. We've got Nico Rosberg behind us, and our teammate Jenson Button's in 4th now, coming through this corner. Not as fast as we'd like. We need to try and improve it, get a bit more pace through there, but we'll be coming into the pits on this lap. These tyres are just not finding their life. 4.2 seconds to Fernando Alonso. We was keeping it a lot closer, but just since the tyres went off, our pace went off seemingly. Coming through this corner now, you can see we're struggling, not getting enough power down, the lack of grip. Get a little bit of a tyre onto the gravel there. And then the pits we go, down into lean fuel mixture. We're going to go onto a set of prime tyres now, as there's no other cars in the pits. We ain't going to get held up, but in we go. What sort of time the guy's going to set? The fresh primes go on, and it's a 3.761. Not a bad time. Still annoyed with the game. They haven't got sub 3 second pit stops yet. Now coming through, and you can see there's loads of cars lapping us. You can just see our positions are tumbling. There goes Raikkonen, and there goes Verne. Verne's very close now, and there goes John Verne now as we slot in behind. There's a Sauber of Adrian Sutter. He tries to go around the outside there as we rejoin the gap between them. If he wanted to move, he should have gone up the inside, really. Whether or not we should have given him more room, that's up to debate now. Coming through, 7 attempts down, but we're going to have DRS, and on the fresh rubber, we should be able to get hold of Vern very quickly. You can see him just slightly getting closer, the red light flashing, the red light's getting bigger and bigger now. We're going to brake a lot later, just about 75 metres from the corner. And yeah, nicely done, double move on the two Toro Rossos there, and yeah, Vern actually gets ahead of his teammate through it. So there's a car that's jumped me and Alonso, and I think he might be on a one-stop or maybe extending him tyre life. I think it might be a Mercedes. Which one it is, I'm unsure of as of yet, so we'll have to wait and see and find out now. And you can see Ricciardo's all over the rear end of us now. Our prime tyres are okay at the moment, but they could be better as we come through now. You can see they're struggling with understeering. We decide to come into the pits. It's an early pit stop almost, but it's a pit stop that needs to be done now. In the pits, almost hitting the wall there, very, very close. Down into lean fuel mixture. It will more than likely be another set of prime tyres, which it is, and we're going to try and make these tyres last till the end of the Grand Prix. We could have gone a lot longer, but the AI are coming in, and we don't want to lose time to them, so that's the important factor. We could have stayed out, but we had to come in to keep ahead of our AI rivals at the moment. It's more important. With the chance of rain, it's more than likely going to happen. So yeah, we don't come out into any traffic there. Vettel's behind us, so yeah, nicely done. Really good one. We'll get a bit of a cheeky corner cut there, but overall, pretty good pit stop and a pretty good bit of play there from the McLaren boys. Now on lap 26, you can see the rain's falling, but not that significantly. 22 seconds to Fernando Alonso. He's pulled off, and I think he may not have pitted, so that might be why he's away from us as well. So yeah, we've got a slimming pit stop, but it's going to make it work for Alonso as we decide to come into the pits. It's time for us to come into a pit for a fresh set of tyres, and there's no point in us going on to dry tyres, so we're going to go on to a set of the intermediate tyres. It's too early, I can say that to you now, but it needs to be done. If we want to keep the positions going, we have to come into the pits, and intermediate seem to be the best tyre of choice. A 3.780 dead. Not a bad time. As we're coming out the pits now, there's a few cars. We're going to come out into traffic. I think there goes Vettel apparently. So whether or not he pitted or tried to get the undercut on us, I do not know. We come out in P10, so we're out in the points no matter what happens now. If everything goes pear-shaped and it just dries up, we've got 10th position, so it's at least we've got a point. But we want to be getting a decent podium and hopefully gain on the two guys ahead. It's unlikely that's going to happen, but we need to get some decent points to try and have a good chance of getting a really good championship run going. We could still win the championship. It's a long shot, but it could still happen, and we need to try and believe it can happen. Now, coming into the hairpin, you can see we're gaining on lap 29, only a few laps later. There we go, we're coming into the pits, and you can see the rain has just come down, and we're into the pits. There's loads of cars behind us. We've held P3 now, and we're going on to a set of wet tyres. So we're going through all the tyre stages. We've got every tyre. It's like a, what's it called? A pick-a-mix of tyres. It's just hundreds of thousands of tyres. It's just so brilliant, this weather, and the McLaren looks lovely in the wet there. So yeah, Hamilton comes out behind us. So the Mercedes must be Nico Rosberg. It must be, because I haven't seen Rosberg yet, and it must be. So Rosberg must be leading this Grand Prix by some form of a margin now. Hamilton's behind us, so he's going to be a threat now. We need to make these tyres last to the full 4 laps now. We're cutting forward just a little bit longer, coming up to the hairpin now. Going to brake a little bit later. Lewis Hamilton's behind us. These tyres are just getting their life going now, trying to find our grip. We're going to have understeer with a dry setup on. The AI normally just good in overall, and they're very good in the wet weather conditions as we saw in qualifying. So yeah, back to how qualifying was with wet conditions. This is the wettest track's been all weekend, as we have a severe lock up there. Misjudged the cornering there, and Hamilton gets us, and I don't think we're catching up with him with his AI pace, obviously in the wet weather conditions. If only, Codemasters, if only you could sort out your game. 9 tenths already gained. That's unreal, and looks like Lewis Hamilton's going to be taking the the podium position off of us. A cheeky little Brett, but we'll take it. Good friends Sergio and Lewis Hamilton are from their Mercedes day. A lot of respect coming from both guys as Lewis Hamilton bowed down to the champion that was Sergio Davilo that season. Great teamwork they had at Mercedes, but coming through the final corners, Daniel Ricciardo in that Red Bull with some great downforce for that wet weather conditions and this sort of sector of the track. That's where the Red Bulls thrive. Coming through the final few corners, he's going to try and jump Sergio. It's unlikely he's going to do it, but if Sergio makes a mistake, he gets a little bit of a rear end, and you can see Ricciardo's getting a little bit leery behind him, but Sergio Davilo comes across the line, does a cheeky little celebration, but maybe it was a little bit defensive. You never know with these sort of things, but comes home in 4th position. Not a bad race, so it's time for your race classifications. Now, a great race for some drivers, including Nico Rosberg, who won from P3. Alonso lost a position, he finished in second. Hamilton was third, Davilo fourth. Fifth was Daniel Ricciardo, sixth was Nico Hülkenberg, seventh Kimi Räikkönen, eighth Valtteri Bottas, ninth was Jenson Button. Perez took 10th, and the two Toro Rossos were 11th and 12th, almost 1 minute 12 off the pace, 5:58 seconds off the pace we were to Nico Rosberg. And to be honest with you, Fernando Alonso, he was 18 seconds off Rosberg's pace. No safety cars, but we got to use every single formatted tyre, which is just exactly what Pirelli were hoping for. Now, the championship, we're 70 points off Nico Rosberg, so we can still do it, but it's going to take something really special. The championship between Hamilton and Rosberg is still alive, but 17 points now separate us and Fernando Alonso behind us. Jenson Button is struggling down there at only 40 points. Needs to get a bit of an improvement going. And constructors-wise, though, we've lost out to Ferrari a little bit, but we can still catch Ferrari and Red Bull, and if we're really lucky we can get Mercedes. But it seems we've got 4th position minimum with Force India and Williams struggling with pace, and sadly it wasn't the podium or the race win we was hoping for this weekend, but it's still up on our qualifying position, so we've made some places and it's not a bad weekend. So really, you know, we had a chance for a podium, but this is just as good. So yeah, going on to now the moment when we need to have the contract decided. So we're going to have a contract offer, and if you remember back in season 2, Ferrari said to us we weren't good enough to be a Ferrari driver. We couldn't win championships in Ferrari. We come second in the championship to Fernando Alonso. They want us back. Do we join? You guys decide down below. Thank you for watching. My name is OTG, and I will see you guys next time.